3 million years from Earth, the Red Dwarf podcast thanks for the memory. Its crew, Blake Braswell, a USA native, and Lee Malaby, his English co-host. Additional. Welcome everyone to Thanks for the Memory TV, where we bring you along to check out Blake's OnlyFans. But to continue, please go to our payment page and deposit $1,000. This will guarantee not seeing Blake in the buff. You filthy goits. What is up, Smegheads, and welcome to Series 8 of Thanks for the Memory, Red Dwarf podcast, where we rewatch every episode of the BBC comedy show Red Dwarf and discuss them. I am your British host, Lee, and I am here with my friend from across the pond, Blake. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I love that. Screw it. If they're not going to put goits in the show again, we're going to put goits in our show.
And that's why it was there, just for you.
That made my day.
Oh man, yeah. We had expectations and hopes moving forward into Series 8, didn't we?
We did. I mean, we started off very strong, saying that, you probably could have pared this down, these 3 opening episodes, to one long one. But all in all, there's a lot that felt good and right, and this is a course correction a little bit from Series 7, and
yeah.
And I don't know. I had a memory that I can't, sometimes my mind changes after I talk to you. So we'll see what happens as we go through this episode.
So before we, obviously, everyone who's listening now should know that we usually do these back to back. So we watch 2 episodes and record them. So these 2, it's not that I didn't enjoy them. They just felt very detached, I think is the word that I'm going to use.
Yes. And to be clear for those listening at home, it's episode 5 and 6 that we are recording today. That's Yep. I might have that note in my second in the next episode. I can't remember where I put it at. You always know there's something up when I can't remember which note I put the show into, because it kind of applies to both of them. Yeah. Well, on this episode, as I said, we are discussing the 5th episode of Series 8, Krytie TV. You've been Krytered. The episode originally aired on March 18th, 1999. Kryten struggles to come to terms with being classified as a woman. Is that actually what this episode's about? Anyway, we'll get there. Kryten struggles to come to terms with being classified as a woman and having to shower with the female prisoners. The male prisoners take advantage of the reprogrammed Kryten and turn him as he creates a broadcasting shower night live show, endangering Lister's appeal. Discuss the episode. Sorry, I'm not supposed to read that part out loud. That was the stage direction, but it was more like a slap in the face as I looked at those words and went, discuss the episode. I like talking about these through a positive lens, and my rewatch was roughly my first viewing was probably better than my rewatch.
Yeah, I'll go
because I didn't remember it very well. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of.
Yes.
I'm not saying I laughed or it just was like, I don't know. There were things my brain's noticed in the background that went, I don't know if that makes sense. And then on the subsequent viewing was, nope. Now I'm going to tell you're not your subconscious, but your conscious. This doesn't make sense.
I had the opposite viewing of you. Whereas the first time I watched it, I kind of went, it looks like Red Dwarf, and it kind of sounds like Red Dwarf, but it's not really Red Dwarf, if that makes sense. It was completely detached, as I've said, from anything else. It was... We've talked about Red Dwarf being... It's a sci-fi show, really. Well, it is. And we've said that they kind of... going back to sort of Series 5, maybe Series 6, where they did this kind of pairing thing of it being high sci-fi concept, sort of small character-driven thing. This is neither of those things. And it's funny, when you've said the synopsis there, it's like, what is this episode actually about?
Because that doesn't feel right to me. It's like I'll throw another episode 1 reference. If anyone has ever heard that famous review that really caught people off guard years later, when the guy was like, "What's kind of wrong with episode 1?" and they went around asking random people. I'm not sure how random it was, but who's the main character of episode 1? And everybody was like, "Well,
Qui-Gon Jinn."
I mean, it's Qui-Gon. I get, but he's not really the, and you're like, oh yeah, there's something in the there's something in the integral DNA that is just off enough that a lot of the trappings that should work for a thing doesn't quite come together. And for whatever reason, it always stuck in my head, that one question, because I was like, oh man, if someone can't answer that question really quickly, that's probably rough. Even if the answer is like 2 people or whatever, but it doesn't really work. And this falls into that uncanny valley of me. Like, yes, it's Red Dwarf. The people are all there. The ship is there. I mean, I'm trying to put I had said to you earlier in previous episodes, I remember this. I remember some of these being pretty funny. Krytie TV was high on my list, but I think I have to contextually take myself back to, as I mentioned, I had worked in Japan for a while in 04. And as far as I knew, Red Dwarf had ended at 6. And I discovered 7 and 8 had come out. And I didn't realize that. And so I was able to watch them. They were out of order. And I was so excited for anything. Also, I was living in Japan where, like, at the time, streaming is not like it is now. So getting TV and stuff, it's just hard. Or English TV anyway. And I think I loved the comfort. I wasn't, while I loved being over there, I was homesick. You're not at home. Everything's very different, no matter how much you might be enjoying it. And those are so there was a comfort in finding the ability to get hold and see these Red Dwarf episodes. And I thought, I remember this one being really funny. And when I watched this, I was like, I hope Lee doesn't remember me telling him this. I
didn't mind it. I thought it was funny. It just, it feels like one of those episodes that is, whether it was initially planned to be in there or not, it's one of like, oh, we're in 1999 where those kind of found footage, pay-per-view kind of stuff is really starting to peak, and it's like, we need to cash in on this thing that's such a big population explosion. It makes sense,
right? It's like what's the show that was on MTV that was so famous? It's not Big Brother, but it's like The Real World or whatever.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
and like, not that it quite did reality show, but yeah, like
similar.
It had a thing of the era to make fun of. Is this around Blair Witch? Isn't that around this time or whatever?
Yeah. So you can kind of feel that it's like, if you're wanting to grab an audience outside of who you normally are, to do something like this is going to cash in on something that's very, very popular right now. So why wouldn't you? But it just feels so weird, slapped in the middle of this series.
It definitely seems like something that is plausible in the setup they have established in the prison. But I think this is the one for me where this prison concept, it has fallen completely apart for me.
I agree.
And I'm at the spot where I don't know why they even did it. Like, for as long as they did it. I get, like, in the beginning and everything, and there's something kind of haha funny about, well, they were cleared of the charges, but they did something else, so they're in prison for that. But,
yeah.
And while that's a stretch in reality, quote unquote, the show shouldn't be taken for reality. But so when I say that they've stretched it to the end, it's that they clearly don't want to be caught. It feels like the creators at the moment don't want to be trapped by the prison, but yet they're in a prison.
Yes, and that's why I was exactly what I was going to say. And we've said this before with you. You've mentioned it with the AR suite. It's like, we need something to get us out of being stuck inside Starbug. What can it be? Oh, it's the AR. So if we need to go outside of the confines of Starbug, then we can. And this is the same. That it's like, oh, well, we need them to join up with the Canaries, and the Canaries can go off the ship. Otherwise, you're literally stuck in that prison for the entire series.
And the Canaries thing sounds like an interesting thing, but this and the next episode, it only matters like 3% to try and move something forward or introduce an idea.
Yeah, it's not used as well as it could have. Like, how many times have we found derelict ships and stuff in previous series, and that's kind of what you expect this to be, but it's not at all. Yeah,
I mean, I know this is like Monday morning quarterback. What would the expression in England be?
I don't know whether there is one.
But does that track? Do people know what I'm saying when I say that?
I think so.
Because trying to make anything is so difficult. It's a miracle anything makes it to film or video, and gets produced. So I'm never like, I'm not like, oh, we know better. It's also easy to know better when we're on the other side of it.
Of course, especially 30 years detached from it as well.
Yeah, and again, as we've said before, this
years.
probably suffers from us watching it the way we're watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, me saying my initial viewing of this was like, oh my gosh, Dwarf is back. And I was just excited. Okay, it's different, but like, I'm just excited to hear these guys' voices again. So I had an acceptance that I just don't have now. And in the way of watching this, it feels like, unlike other previous series, they are attempting to build on something because they've done multiple. Now, well, our next episode, there are two to be continued thread lines, right? We have basically a 3-parter that we open with, and there'll be a 2-parter coming up. And if you're building to this, okay, but it actually feels like Series 6, who each episode's completely not, there is the barest of through line through it. You could watch most of them in any order and then just end on 6 and get you there. You know what I mean? Like, I think the only one that matters is whenever Rimmer, and I can't remember if that's 5 or 6, gets the hard light drive, right? If you would need to see that.
That's
before you.
Was that Legion?
Yeah, it's Legion. I can't remember if that's Series 5 or 6 off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But
actually.
like,
I think it's 6.
They built to things small, and then got to their, got to series. But this feels like, okay, we're honestly going to try to build on something. Like, we've already dropped Hollister doing the Holly Open, cold open. Why would that go away? Like, for all the things of trying to make it back like regular Dwarf, but slightly different. I don't know if it works. Like, there's almost a world where it's like, actually, in the Canaries, everyone should weirdly end up looking up to the crew of the Red Dwarf because they'd probably be better than almost any of them.
Because they've seen they've been in way more perilous positions than any of those guys have.
With the character progression we've had thus far, there is an argument to be made. If you want to do a very different season for just a little bit, you put them in charge of the Canaries. If you've got a Rimmer that's now back from the dead, so he hasn't had the growth the other Rimmer had, and he hates that he's now in prison, and it's Lister who somehow becomes a de facto leader of this group, and he's like, what? That'll make him even more nuts, and he'll be angry that Lister answers to him, and Lister would make, like, I don't know, his lieutenant, like, Kachansky or Krytie, and that there's comedy in Lister trying to lead, like, Kill Crazy and these insane guys to try and, if there was a goal of, like, if you guys can do X amount of missions successfully, you will cut your sentence in half or something, and so he's trying to hold everything together. That is a premise, and I realize I'm saying something that is completely different from what they ended up doing. That would be interesting. That would stretch what in a different, direction, and like have some fun to play around with people. But this feels like we're going to do totally different, but actually we're going to do it the same. They just start in a prison cell having their cold open instead of their bunk. We're not. I just can't tell what the overall vision for this is supposed to be.
It feels like they've, like you said, they came up with this idea of the nanobots and bringing Red Dwarf back, and then came up with the concept of them going into prison, and then found themselves like they were writing on the fly, not thinking big picture. And then found themselves kind of shoeboxed in this prison. They're like, oh, yeah, we don't quite know what to do. Like they did when Kachansky came back in Series 7, where they didn't really know what to do with her. I think this prison is the Kachansky of this series because they're not quite sure what to do with it.
Because they're in prison. They can't just do what they want, except when we want them to.
Yes.
Yeah. They just do what they want. Kachansky is believable that she's picked up a date with someone. And it's like, wait, she could go on a date with
That was funny, though.
And I realize that is this episode. See, I've already confused it in my head.
That made me think there, because I think there is reference in both episodes, actually.
Yeah, so if that's the, case, what is this prison even? Is it just, is it just like bad duty, like in the army when you get in trouble and you have to do punishments or whatever? It's because they said, oh, this is floor 13, the prison.
Yeah.
And what is I think the problem is I don't really have a problem other than it probably could have cut down a little bit to an hour instead of an hour and a half. But for the first 3 episodes, push from the end of series 7 to a new status quo that I don't think they deliver on. I think it's a mistake to have introduced super smart Holly, and he's not back in.
Yeah, it's weird that he's only been in it for literally, 2 minutes?
Because that's brilliant, and you get more Norman love if you were to do, whether it's interplay or like the one Holly trying to hide from the other Holly. I mean, it's just...
That would be funny.
Why bring Holly back? Why did we go through the trouble of bringing him back? Because he is not in this stuff that much.
Well, I've put that in my notes. Holly, once again, has become what Kat was in series 1 and 2. He's literally there. He pops in, he drops a punchline, and off he pops.
Is it weird that Kat is the best showing one out of these? For whatever reason, the couple of Kat things still work for Kat.
I don't know. I feel like, I think it's the next one. See, I'm already doing it. It's the next episode. I have an issue with a cat bit. It kind of annoyed me. And it went on.
As soon
way
as it came
too
out of my
long.
mouth, I went, wait a minute, I might be referring to the second one more than this one.
But Kat's relationship with Lister's completely changed as well. You look back when after series 2, when they really figured out Kat's place, and then it was Kat and Lister were like really good buddies. That's all gone now. And they're all kind of independent of each other again. The only relationship you've got right now is Rimmer and Lister, and that's purely because they share a prison cell together. There's no relationships anymore. It doesn't feel like a crew.
No, it's just an excuse for a gag. I think can we walk through the episode a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I need to, because that's how I've written it out.
Much like my epiphany when I heard that review online that was like asking people who's the main character of episode 1, and people struggling to give the correct, like they knew the answer by number of lines, but actually maybe it doesn't make sense that
yeah.
I think my problem with this episode too starts really early on, and I'm curious to know if you had the same thought. But just so I'll let you know when that hits.
Okay.
But we open with this funny cold open about Krytie being designated a woman. This bit's great.
It's awesome, and the music over the top is perfect. It's actually a really good montage.
It is wonderful. I do have a problem with him painting his entire foot.
Oh yes.
Why wouldn't he just paint the chunky toe bits at the end? I think that'd still be funny.
I agree. It was a bit. I had the exact same thought. It's funny. We've just been watching, on your suggestion, Parks and Rec, and the same things just happened in an episode of Parks and Rec that we've watched when Ron is looking after his girlfriend's kids, and they paint his shoes red. And it's funny how we've just watched that episode in the same week that we've just watched this episode of Red Dwarf.
But that's kids, and it's funny. Krytie is smart. I mean, like, he does know what, like, I would believe in theory he could do the nails of a lady. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would be something he would know how to do from the Nova 5 or whatever.
It was a bit weird.
But like I still think it's funny if it had just been the chunky toe parts, because it would look ridiculous. It is the visual equivalent of, now I know why dogs lick their testicles.
It really is. Yeah, you're right.
And then adding in it's the text. You didn't need to say that. And it's like, this is like, that was too much. I mean, because it is a really good bit. And I think I may have said something like this prior, but sorry, Star Wars is going to come back up again. But it's a good cultural milestone that like everyone can recognize. From the standpoint of, you have to be so careful with fantasy, right? Like, because on one hand, you go to use Star Wars as an example. Well, if you got creatures that walk around looking like a big wall of carpet, why are you worried about realism? And it's like, well, no, you don't have to be. But whenever you make your rules, you need to stick with them.
Yes.
And I feel like Kryten's rules are all over the place. I'm very glad he doesn't just hate Kachansky now. They have a thing, but it's not that weird over-the-top hatred from before. But he's completely... it's just... And I don't know why that painting of the foot... I love that whole montage, and that moment happens. I'm like, see, that... Whatever that is my problem right now. It's like the comedy is with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
You know, not that past stuff has been so erudite with its comedy, but like it's not like that. You know, moments there are, and that's what makes it funny, but like, I don't know, it's just...
If you go back 2 or 3 series, Kryten was starting to make progress as a character, and I think you said it when Kachansky came in, Kryten went back to being like dumb Bogbot.
Yeah.
Bogbot Kryten.
Basically Nova 5 Kryten. Like that he's back to
Yeah.
when they
Ironing the
first
clothes and doing
find
the
him.
washing, and yeah, it's very strange. And then this is like, I don't know. Yeah, I completely agree. It's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3. It's like you decide what Kryten's going to be or don't.
I think I have a follow up for that, but not about Kryten. But that theme comes back. Now, we go to a cold open with Lister and Rimmer.
Oh, I need to jump back in. So Kryten's expression. So when they're all walking in the shower, and why are all the women prisoners fit as hell? By the way. And then he's
90s TV. Yep.
And he stood there with his umbrella reading his book, and the expression that he pulls when he looks up and is like surrounded by naked women, as if to say, "Ugh, why am I here?"
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
He is. Well, that's the thing. Individually, they're all doing good work.
Yes.
It's just not
Coming together.
It is not coming together.
No, it's not cohesive at all.
So, and this is going to come up in the next episode as well. We then do a second cold open with the guys in their jail cell. And I will admit, it does start with my kind of humor.
Oh, yeah.
I love nothing more than that kind of like, the post
Grown.
arrived.
Yeah, it's real grown humor. Oh.
And Red Dwarf has earned that. To me, I love that you could have like a high, in the previous seasons, a high concept sci-fi thing with some clever stuff. And then you'd have something that dumb from Holly or whomever that was like, oh my God, that's so good. Or Cat, and it works because maybe also Lister's being cheeky with it, obviously, but I like it. That bit works. But it feels weird whenever they do a double cold open like this, especially in an episode that feels detached and lacking a central plot that takes a while to get going.
I think it does have a central plot. The weird thing is, if you look at that synopsis, it's not the thing that it's focused on. The episode is about the appeal, really.
Yes, except it's not.
No, it's not. It's a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end, and it's kind of referenced a couple of times in the middle to keep the plot going.
Well, before we get to the appeal, I do like the other joke about inserting the guitar into you, and Lister saying we should have started with the neck end first. That again, when I say this cold open feels weird, I love bits in it. Like they're good stuff in it. It just all the other ones, just like, even though right off the bat I could not tell you which story or what the story for the episode is when Lister and the cat are talking about Betty Ruppel being the most desirable woman, or Wilma or whatever. But I'd be thinking of Wilma.
Yeah.
Because it is very detached from whatever comes later. But however, it is such a strong comedy thing that leads into the main story. But back then, the point was to just show you when the show isn't running, this is the kind of crap that's going on. Right. And you just did that with Kryten. So now we're going to do it with, and it feels like you kind of go, well, we have to, because we used to always do that with Rimmer.
But you also need to set up the premise of the episode. But
you also didn't used to do it with just Rimmer and Lister.
No.
Sometimes it was Lister and Cat. Sometimes it was that's also strange to me too, of like, no, we have to go back to this because it's like the original. And it's like,
yeah,
I mean, okay.
You've got to remember that they're the main characters, so we need to focus on them as much as possible. But
at this point, Kryten is so popular. So of course they're also, doing Kryten. But here it is, Lee. Do you know what my big problem with the whole beginning of this thing is? This whole premise? If the appeal is supposed to be this excuse to get a good punchline in, which I'll admit the first time worked for me, but on the subsequent view, but I had a thought later, and on this viewing I watched, went, yep, doesn't work.
Okay, go on then.
Did you catch this at all?
I don't know.
So the post is in. He does the thing, and then the guard comes in, brings the letter.
Yep.
Right? Or no, sorry. Brings the whatever. They read the thing about Peterson.
Because he gets the mail.
The guitar.
Which I have an English... Go on, I was going to interrupt. I will interrupt later, but not now.
But he gets... the guitar comes in, right?
Yes.
He's like, what? I don't get any strings. And then the letter comes in saying, oh, and this, and that's about the appeal, right?
Yep. So you assume the two separate things?
Did you figure out what the problem is yet?
No.
In the script, Lister does not know he's getting the guitar. The guitar shows up and Lister gets it and says, yeah, wait, where are the strings? Well, you can't have strings, nothing to kill yourself, which is also a good joke. That whole, like, I don't think that was for you. It's for me.
Oh, yeah.
And then the letter about the appeal comes in that scene. So if Lister didn't know that his guitar was not going to have strings, or didn't know his guitar was going to have strings confiscated,
why would he have appealed?
How did he get a letter right after the guitar is dropped off about the appeal to get the guitar strings?
I did not notice that, but now you said, that's ridiculous.
So if you had done this cold open different...
Yeah, he would have had to have gotten the guitar, realized there's no strings, then lodged his appeal.
Yeah.
But then the joke doesn't work because then you know what he's appealing for, and the whole point is to put you off what the appeal's about.
Well, but I still think what's a simple answer? I mean, like, a simple answer would be you don't start with Krytie, you start with the lads in their jail cell, and you pretty much do everything up to the guitar showing, the guitar showing up, and it's like, I'm so bored, I hate this or whatever.
Then you go,
I wonder if things are any better, in the women's with Krytie and Kachansky.
Yep.
Boom, you cut to that. Then you cut back to the guys, and it could have been any amount of time. Guy comes in, hey, here's this letter, and you're like, oh, an appeal. I still think that would work.
Yeah, I do.
But that drove me nuts. And on my subsequent viewing, I was
noticed.
Like, damn it, I can't not see that now. How does he know he should be appealing for his guitar strings?
What I did. The epiphany I had watching these two episodes, more so the second one, Pete Part 1, starting to feel like a sketch comedy show.
It feels like an SNL sketches or something like that. That's just like they got together on Sunday, they came up with a bunch of crap, and they're filming it on Saturday.
And it doesn't necessarily go together to create an episode. The next one, obviously, we'll talk about it more, and I'm going off the fact that I've only seen Part 1, but the next one definitely feels even more like that. But what I did like over these two episodes, I feel like there was quite a few British-isms that I feel like I might have to explain to you, Blake, which got me quite excited because we haven't had a while, especially the email that we got last week saying that the guy really likes it when I have to explain the Britishism. So when the mail comes in that Rimmer got a couple of death threats, and he's in the Reader's Digest, lucky dip. Do you know what the Reader's Digest is?
I feel like, so we had a Reader's Digest, but I do not think it was the same thing because my grandma had a subscription. That's how I remember it. And it was like this magazine that was small that you would get in the mail.
It might be.
And there was stuff to read in it. I was associated with older people, but like, even though at the time I would have said that, my grandma probably wasn't far from the age that I am now. But that was like the Reader's Digest. Like that's I remember.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's kind of, so it's like a mini version of National Geographic, I guess. Yeah,
this was more like, it wasn't National Geographic, so that would be. Oh no, you said National Geographic, not like the Enquirer. Or something.
No, just kind of like human interest stories and maybe recipes and that. Oh, so it is the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, but I assume the did it have a thing attached to it about winning a prize? Was that what that was attached to as well?
Yes.
Or was that separate? That was just
no, because he won the lottery. Yeah, because in this one he was in the lucky dip because he won He's won either a holiday in Mauritius, a soft-top sports car, or a fabulous matching set of egg cups. And he's like, of course, I'm 3 million years from Earth and I win a holiday to Mauritius.
Again, good bits.
But, right, so I said this to Tracy, right, Blake? We are 3 million and some odd years from Earth in a ship that was destroyed and then remade with all of its crew by nanobots. Where the did that post come from?
Because in the initial series 1 or 2, it was the idea being that Red Dwarf was still on the same trajectory that it should have been, but they had turned around to head back to Earth, and they intercepted the mail.
So where's it coming from now? How is there still mail?
Because at this
delivered?
point, we've never established that thing is heading back.
We have
to Earth.
no idea where they are right now.
Right, because at least in the first episode, we pretty much kind of established that Red Dwarf just turns around.
Because that's what he says. That,
Yeah.
what is it? I can't remember how the first episode ends. Watch out, Earth, the scum's coming home or something like that.
Slime's coming back.
I feel like a really
Yeah.
bad Red Dwarf fan right now. I feel like that should be a line we shouldn't know verbatim, but something like that. And yeah, so the whole point is that they're going back to Earth. But at this point, they've been without Red Dwarf for a while. So that even when it turns back up, God knows where it is.
It isn't. See, and you've just made me think of like a whole other. If you were making the story, why are they working so hard to make interesting crap when the concept is already interesting? At what point should we have Hollister or all the crew find out you all died and came back and it's been 3 million years? Where's the existential crisis that our original Red Dwarf crew already went through? It's like, well, I guess this is life now.
Some of them know about it though, don't they? Because Krytie had the whole conversation with the psychiatrist.
So the psychiatrist thought he was nuts. But remember the one lady mentioned something to Hollister and he was like, that's classified. How'd you know? And she's like, chicken soup machine.
So they're aware of it.
So, but like, I get the feeling that maybe it's the officers. But you would think like, or this, like Lister leading a revolt by the workers on the ship, because like, what's the point of any of this, of saluting you, of doing none of this exists anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's really fun and interesting. Oh my God. The idea of friggin' Lister leading a people's revolution is actually in character and hysterical.
Like, what is the purpose of Red Dwarf at this point?
Yeah. Like, why did we bring them back only to shove our people away we've been following? But you know what? Still bring them back constantly to talk to Hollister and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it does. Like,
it's very strange.
I think that's, it's because the overall premise is actually interesting. Why do you have to invent, anything to be funny? I get it. But like Krytie TV, it's just like, okay.
See, I feel like, now we're talking about it, and I'm going to use the example that I always use. Waiting for God. Two very distinct stories going on in that episode. So you think the story of the old cat priest being down in the cargo hold, wrapped around the Smegging garbage pod. This episode kind of feels like that.
Except the two pieces aren't like the other ones. You could have almost made 2 episodes out of either concept. And this one, you barely get an episode out of these 2 pieces.
Yeah, it's like Krytie TV wrapped in the appeal.
And it's because we don't understand how the world works, because basically they went into jail and just, we're there now. Oh, here's this guy Ackerman that sucks and then the guards are cruel, and this one inmate is nuts. But that's that's all we know. And then in the subsequent shows, well, here we go. Like where are we at? I wrote, I don't mind Rimmer taking a step back since it's old Rimmer.
Yes.
Right? But Lister stepping back feels so weird, which is kind of some of the stuff we've been talking about. And what you mentioned early on, the girl showering bit, it seems, especially on this last viewing, I was like, this isn't Lister. I feel like Lister has grown enough. I buy first series 1 and 2, Lister behaving how he does in this moment.
What you mean, watching it and like, we'll go now. And I disagree. I think it's already been set up. Oh no, that's this episode. Ignore me.
Yeah, but I feel like the series 1 or 2 Lister does this. Maybe 3, 5 and 6 series Lister, I don't think does this. And it's like,
I still think given half a chance to see Kachansky naked, he would.
Do you know what our problem is though? It's with everyone else. And I think that's what's weird. I feel like he'd be more freaked out about everybody else seeing it. Like,
maybe, yes.
The funnier thing to do would be to valiantly stop everyone from seeing this and get his butt, only for him to be like, all right, I stole it and I've got the recording.
Yes.
Like, I guess I should just see. Do you know what I mean? So like, he still ends up being a sleazebag. He saves her quote unquote from everybody else, but he's a sleazebag. I don't know. It's like,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And maybe not even that he ended up doing it, but the whole like, I didn't even have a chalk ice. I didn't enjoy him. I'm like, I don't like, I get that those are gags and those are jokes. Those jokes about the chalk ice and like...
Do you know what a chalk ice is, by the way, Blake?
I'm assuming it's a chocolate icicle, like popsicle kind of thing. Is that what that is?
It's just a bar of ice cream wrapped in chocolate. So apparently, I looked it up to see if you had an equivalent, and I've never heard of it, but a Klondike bar?
You heard of a Klondike bar? That
No.
just blew my brain. Even staying in America, like you have not seen the commercial. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Well, okay, we're gonna fix that. You got have a Klondike bar. The best one are the Heath Klondike bars.
Okay.
But that's what that is pretty much. As I'm looking at it, that is exactly what that is. I should have looked that up. Sometimes I don't though, because I want to see what you're gonna say.
It was a staple of my childhood, chalk ices.
Yeah. Well, so are Klondike bars. Very, very similar. Like grandma always had them in the freezer.
Oh yeah, yeah. The cheaper, the better.
But yeah, I don't know. I get you're not wrong. Like I could see Lister doing this. I think it's like his reaction with everyone else, and then Rimmer cares about the appeal, and so Lister seems to not care about the appeal, but kind of does.
Because the interesting thing is, right? This is where Rimmer should. I'm thinking off the on my feet here for a change. This is where Rimmer should have figured out that the appeal wasn't quite what he thought it was.
Right, because if you were just trying to get out, you'd be like, "No, we have to stop this at all costs."
And,
right,
and Lister doesn't.
Yeah, like at all costs. Ooh, we could report them. We could, whatever. Like, yes, and Lister just doesn't. I can't put my finger on it, and I don't think it's well, in this day and age, would you be playing this for comedy? Like I apologize. This will come up in the next one as well, but there is like a juvenile sense of humor that has been in Red Dwarf at moments, but it hasn't lived in it.
Well, I've said that a lot, I think, for this series, where we've gone very sort of child smutty, and which we've, like you say, we've dipped our toe in it quite a lot over the previous series, but it does really seem
very intentionally, right?
Oh, yes.
Bam. Right here, we're going to have this moment.
Like the double Polaroid or like that type of thing.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
When the moment calls for it, like, we got to do this right
here,
right?
But it seems to be very much in it for this series a lot, which is interesting. Like I've said to you before, I questioned it for the first few series. Like, what age group is this series aimed at? Because it doesn't shy away from being smutty, but it, as you say, it doesn't live in it. It's the odd joke that if you're watching it as a kid with your parents, you all might snigger, but then kind of not admit that you find it funny,
Right.
But not the whole thing. Yeah, it's straight. Again, I think you've got to go back to Doug Neal and not having Rob Grant kind of reining him in a little bit.
Yeah, like we're just throwing in jokes, but we don't have a story.
No,
really,
not at all. In these two episodes, again, the next one might change because when I've seen part 2, that might change. But the next one felt more like a sketch show than anything else. It's literally like, these are the characters, and we're just going to do sketch, and somehow it'll come together.
I would say this is close to that, though. It's still like
a little.
While
bit.
It might have a tighter through line, how they deal with things are odd. Like we haven't even like. I do have one. I do like Gold Krytie.
Yes.
I don't know. He's again
he's like Pimp Krytie.
Yeah, giving him a chance to just perform differently is always fun. Like I love I think that's also the problem. Right? It's not gonna be hate. I think it's worse when you don't mind or even like the idea and then the idea isn't done well.
Yes,
is worse.
Let's rewind back just a little bit because I've got another Britishism for you. So I do love the fact that they actually, I am assuming, because I don't think it existed, the whatever the sci-fi movie's called, the attack of the incredibly screaming, totally invisible aliens.
Yes,
that they actually filmed that for this episode. I thought was pretty cool. And Kat asked, why do they always play these lousy B movies? They said, it's to sap our morale. Next week, it's the George Formby season. Get your hanging rope out. Well, there's life left, yeah. Hey, do you know who George Formby is?
I do not. That was what I figured would pop up here.
I knew you would. So he's like a sort of 50s or 60s like comedy actor, but it was very, very famous for playing the ukulele.
So we finally give Chris Berry a chance to do impersonations.
Yes, because George Formby is one of those the old school like impressionists would have done, because he's very, very specific in the way he speaks and stuff. And
his his name is familiar, and so is the voice, in a way that I think I've never seen him, but I have seen people impersonate him.
It was kind of like a poor man's sort of Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, like that sort of era comedy actor. And he did a song like I'm leaning on the lamppost at the corner of the street with his little ukulele. Yeah. And again, it's such a random reference. We're talking about an episode that came out in 1999 referencing George Formby, who was like in the 50s and 60s. But more
3 million years in the future.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's not as bad as Teasy Weezy, but yeah.
It's not Teasy Weezy. Nothing. I don't think anything will ever top Teasy Weezy.
No.
Also, Teasy Weezy, how much the audience laughed at that.
I tell you what, I want to know right now. Anybody, when you watched that episode and they talked about Teasy Weezy, did you know who Teasy Weezy was? I don't believe anybody watching that series, that episode at that point actually got that joke.
And the problem is at the time you couldn't just slap up Wikipedia and figure out what it was.
If you didn't know it, you didn't know it, or you asked someone at work, do you know what Teasy Weezy is? And if there's no way you were finding it out.
So, speaking of Britishisms, why does Kryten say he's trying to get the rights for the five-a-side soccer tournament? Do they just know it's broadcast in America? So they said soccer?
Interesting. Maybe. Yeah, we've talked about it a lot, haven't we? That since that pilot came out, was it series 5 where we said there were definitely, the pilot was in the works?
Even in series 1 was weird though, because the zero-G football, they were NFL American football looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was like, wait, five-a-side soccer? What?
I never noticed that actually.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of football references, isn't there? Funny enough, there's one in the next one.
There's a great one in the next one.
Yeah. I don't know. I get it. This kind of goes back to what you were saying, Blake, when you set your rules and you set your law and then don't always adhere to it. And I feel like sport in the Red Dwarf world is definitely one that they kind of play hard and fast with the actual rules of what things are.
I mean, think about how many times the word zero-G football was mentioned in the first 2 series.
And it's never been mentioned since.
Again.
No.
Yeah. And they probably have the special effects to maybe pull off something stupid with it, like right now. But it hit my ear weird the second time I watched it. I was like, wait, wow.
To go back to talking about how living in the smut this episode, it did make me laugh. Kryten's physical humor when Miss Kachansky, I have a gift for you. And she's like, oh, what is it? Another one. No, the pogo stick.
Yeah, the waterproof pogo stick.
Yes.
And he's doing the miming of what she would look like.
What? Just imagine the ratings, sir. For those who aren't watching, obviously, because this is an audio podcast, he does that over elaborate bounce up and down on a pogo stick. I was crying.
But see how quickly he's like, I'm not going to let you do that, and puts an end to it and tells her what's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's where and maybe it was on the second viewing that I felt like Lister in the room felt weird, because he does so quickly rat out Kryten. Because there would be another joke that'd be just as fun. It's like, I'm not going to let you get away with this. After tonight's show, I'm going to tell her what's going on, or something. That he wanted to see that or something. He jumps to save it. And that I want that bit to work between Lister and Kachansky so well. I do like if you really need to see me naked, why not just ask? It
never occurred to me that I could just ask.
Oh, I love being your friend.
So is there any chance? No, never, ever.
No, we're not friends. Which does lead to the next scene, which I do kind of, again, it's none of those, I enjoy good cheese with the whole, to make up for how sorry I am, here's 2 bags, having 2 bags of flour, 2 bags of flowers. But I freaking Rimmer, which is already funny. It's not clever, but it's like dumb clever. But I love Rimmer's follow up to make up for how sorry I am. Here are 2 bags of self-raising, something I didn't need any help with yesterday.
I have that joke written down. That's hilarious. That was absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
and it's so true. Red Dwarf stuff comes out of these sort of disparate moments that don't quite flow.
But it's just like I say. It seems to be sketch show. So it's like we've had the Kryten bit with the shower and stuff at the beginning. Then we go into the whole guitar, strings, all that thing. Then you go into Kryten getting knocked out and reprogrammed, and then the whole Krytie TV thing. that then leads into the kind of punked thing that they decide to do with Ackerman after that, because he doesn't Kryten, you haven't heard about Miss Kachansky? What about Miss Kachansky? I can't believe you've not heard about the news about Miss Kachansky. What news about me? That goes on far too long, to be fair.
It does, but it does feel like a classic Kryten bit. What do you mean, sir? You haven't, you like, it's a very old feeling Kryten thing. It's weird that like that doesn't bother me. I'm like, you could go on with those. Maybe it's because Robert Llewellyn's just still funny being Kryten to me, but it does go on too long. But again, she's got a date, and I'm going, what is this prison? I'm so confused.
Yeah,
because even before, Kryten's got his own prison office. Basically, Kachansky can come in, Lister can come in.
I mean,
I know the guard is being paid off. That's kind of the idea, but I'm just like, there's a men's wing and a women's wing. Is there? I mean, they just show up.
Oh, because she just shows up in Kryten's room. That's true.
Yeah. And if Lister's there and it's still the women's wing, well, why would the guards let him go over there? And Kachansky's going on a date. And not only does Lister believe it, it's plausible, obviously.
Like her ex-boyfriend, isn't it? Her ex-boyfriend.
Yes. So you can be in prison. That's real bad here, but you can go on a date with certain rules. That's the...
So then there's that whole sketch thing after that of them going into what he thinks is her ex-boyfriend's room and laying the half-eaten onion sandwich and then like scattering crumbs around the bed, and then the pièce de résistance of cutting his pubes off and putting it all in the in the saw. Again, a scene that went on far too long in my opinion, because it was all about the pubes and it took quite a while to get there.
Yeah, it really like that. And to be honest, it wasn't about the pubes. It was the end when he like cleans them up and then hands it to Rimmer without thinking, holding his hand out. And Rimmer's like, oh God. But there's all this setup to finally get you to, the guys are watching him and this is like punked,
yeah.
But it's just,
I don't know.
It's so funny to say it's like puerile and juvenile humor. And I know that I'm talking about Red Dwarf, where there's absolutely that is baked into it. It's just,
it's not Red Dwarf.
It can be at moments, but not just the whole time. Because usually if that was happening, there was actually someone who was there to rise above it, right? Or like Kryten might fight against it, like, oh, this is highly inappropriate or whatever.
Well, he can't because he's been reprogrammed. So yeah.
Yeah. But I'm thinking of like a juvenile moment of the, what was the polymorph and is in Lister's pants and Rimmer comes in and Kryten's trying to get it and it looks like they're like doing it.
Because the polymorph changes to his boxers, doesn't he? And he puts his boxers on and then it starts shrinking. That's right, yeah. And like that is a completely juvenile humor, but it is hysterical because it is character based. Yes.
Rimmer walks in and it's like, what is like? I mean, Lister, truly situational comedy, cannot explain what's happening because it's so bad and doesn't know what's occurring. It was a kebab, so it looked like this shriveled sausage penis hanging out of it. I mean, like it. So yes, that's all juvenile, but it's weirdly done in a way that's just. Well done. I love well done cheese, like the Post, even in this episode. Post is here. Love it. That's well done cheese. So I'm not saying you can't do it. There's just something that doesn't work. It doesn't feel Red Dwarf. And I think it feels like a character step back for Lister. And even though I know logically Rimmer is back to first series Rimmer.
Kind of.
It doesn't, because he isn't. He's more confident. He's super sexual.
Yeah, he's not original Rimmer.
No, so it doesn't quite work with him either. There was something funny about the old Rimmer being like wanting to be a sexual being that just could not be
because he was terrible. Yeah, and this one, and like you look at the episode when the last episode, Cassandra. When he found out that he was supposed to die getting harpooned to death by Rimmer, giving Kachansky one, and normally be like kind of nervous and whatever, and he was absolutely up and ready for it, and very different. Now, it would be funny, actually, if he could have gone back to literally being Series 1 Rimmer, which he should be, like you say, he should be.
Yeah. And that could be the fun part of it too. And like, I don't know. I think back to, and a lot of times it does become kind of a joke to make fun of Lister for it or whatever. But series 3 through 6, you get this like philosophical side of Lister. Sometimes he says too much, but like you do get the idea that this guy who's worked so hard his whole life to seem like, I don't care about being smart or whatever, is actually like a very smart guy.
Yeah.
But insecure about being that way or thought of that way. It's so when he wants to pontificate or when he wants to be smart or philosophical about things, I guess I think that's where he's at now is weird. He still was kind of old Lister in the first 3 episodes, but there's something weird about this episode to me. And he stays that way where he feels very regressed in this one and the next one to me.
I think they wanted to move into this series kind of, like you've said, sort of recapturing what Red Dwarf was, but also trying to move it forward a little bit, and haven't really done either.
No, they haven't. It's It's awful. It's awful strange.
Like I say, I know for the most part, all the episodes have kind of been like sketch show based, I guess. But then I'm starting to look back and go, to be fair, most of them had a progressive story. This one does, but it doesn't.
So in series 1 and 2 a little bit, more so in 1, you could see like, they wanted to do progress the story a bit more like the one with Craig Ferguson, the whole hope and what were the 2 personality traits?
Confidence and paranoia.
Confidence and paranoia. That we were like, they wanted to do more, but they were held back by the budget set, what they could do. You could then as they got a little more money, they could push forward things a little bit more, bring in more people, expand the universe a bit. Now it looks like they've got the ability to do that stuff, but like Cassandra being in the previous episode feels like a throwback to not that old of a Red Dwarf, but series 5, 6, like. Yeah. And this one, I don't know what this is, man. It just doesn't feel like Red Dwarf. Moments do, but
I actually think Cassandra is probably the most Red Dwarf episode we've had this series so far.
Yeah, but why? I know they want to have new characters, but I'll go back to this whole Canaries thing again. Why not just invent the Canaries and that is the Red Dwarf crew?
Yeah.
Then you could have done it and been like, all right, and then it's like, well, hey, we used to do this, guys, all the time to survive anyway. So let's just do this as a crew and we'll, get commuted off. It's like we're kind of a special forces unit to like, we have the most experience doing this, and that could be a thing that like Lister pitches to Hollister, like, look, let us do this and it'll be dangerous. Yeah, we'll do it. And Rimmer's like, what? That's insane. I don't want to do that because right now I think, oh man.
Yeah, because Rimmer wouldn't want to do it. Because like you say, he's not new Rimmer, is he? He's old Rimmer still.
Is what I'm missing is that they were competent and for some reason they are not anymore.
Yeah, it's like everything when Red Dwarf got recreated, that everything that had come before them's kind of been wiped out as well.
Yeah, and I guess that's a shame because that's when I say why bother making a bunch of crap, inventing a bunch of crap when the premise you have is already interesting. And if you literally have these guys trying to, like that moment in the when they don't know that they're in virtual, or when they know they're in virtual reality, whatever, and they're telling Rimmer like, hey man, come with us. Remember I told you like it almost felt like they should have done that. They should have escaped on like one of the blue midgets or whatever and done a few episodes with that crew and then maybe come back to try and say, hey, we told you it was true or whatever. But like, because there was a promise in that, and that scene where the whole, even though it's funny about I get my own buttons, but there's this competency about the crew, and it's the last time I feel like we've seen that for just that moment. Like, yeah, this is us, man. So it's weird that they're so backwards right now. I mean, there would actually be something funny to Rimmer going like, this is hopeless in jail, and Lister being like, I'm going to prove to the captain I am worthwhile, and they'll let us out because I can do stuff. Like, that actually would be hysterical if it were the reverse. Because Lister's like, I do know stuff now. I don't know.
I think it goes back to that thing we've talked about quite a bit, that this is a soft reboot. 100%. And the more you start to look at it, moving, like, we're 5 episodes in at this point, it really is a soft reboot because we've kind of not completely changed who the characters are, but kind of wiped out some of that growth.
Yeah, and it's not like the characters grew huge. The show was very careful to just like, how do you find out Lister? Kryten. One of the best things about introducing Kryten is you actually find out you get more of a sense of David's heart of gold. The rogue with a heart of gold really comes through in the way he tries to help Kryten. And then Rimmer's complete dismissal of this artificial person, and it's just like all that stuff missing. And it gets us all the way to the appeal at the end of the show that I can't enjoy because I don't know how Lister knew in the first place to apply for that appeal.
But it just, again, it's like it's set up at the beginning and then it's such a tiny piece at the end. It just, I don't know. It just doesn't.
Lee, I love trying to be positive with these, and I'm struggling with this one, man.
I went into this series being so positive, and like, for all we said, the first 3 episodes were super stretched out. They were all right. They were pretty good. Cassandra was good, and I was excited moving forward. Like I say, even though I've seen these before, I don't remember them. So I was excited moving forward, and so far I've been slightly disappointed by them, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm really annoyed with this one too because I had memories that I thought this was really funny. But again, when I saw it, I was starved of Dwarf and I was excited for them all to be together.
It had funny moments.
And you know what I think part of it too, when I caught it that way, I just assumed I am missing context of things that have happened.
Of course, so you just let it go because, Yeah,
and I think it's more disappointing now to be really watching
because
these
you've literally seen it in its context like over and over.
And it doesn't work.
No.
It's just not working. Even though the weird thing is a lot of individual pieces totally work.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. We've lost those stories. Like I say, it feels like, structure-wise, it feels like Waiting for God, but the 2 parts are nowhere near as strong as the 2 parts of Waiting for God.
No, not at all.
No,
not at all.
But structure-wise, it's very similar to that episode.
The hard thing is, what am I going to talk about in the next episode? That's what I'm getting worried about.
I kind of wish I'd seen part 2 at this point to know where it's going to go, because it's going to be an interesting conversation not knowing where that episode goes, because we'll get into it.
Well, but hey, we did that. We did the first 2, not knowing where the third was going to go. So
true.
Yeah. Lee, this is the first time I think a lot of times I have changed my rating for the higher after talking to you, and I've lowered it.
So I'm at a point now where I don't even rate these episodes until we've had our conversation. So go on then. What did you have it originally?
Had it at a 6. Okay. I put it at a 5, but part of me wants to put it at a 4.
No, I'll agree with a 5. I think it wasn't bad by any stretch. It wasn't a body swap by any stretch of the imagination. It wasn't a terrible episode. Could it have been better? Yes. But I don't think it was terrible.
I would argue if you and I went and loaded up Body Swap right now, we would like it a whole lot more.
You think? I don't know.
Now you kind of made me want to go back and watch it and go, because I didn't like that one, but it was more about how technically it was done, not actually what the story was.
That's the only one that we've kind of ragged on entirely that I can think of. Like all the rest have kind of had merits, whereas that one we were just like, that show's terrible and it should have been this.
I just usually end these going, man, I enjoyed this more than I thought talking to you. There's some stuff in here I really liked. Not that I've had a ton of bad ones, but when I've had one going, it didn't really click with me. Sometimes I talk to you and go, oh, that bit was good. And this one, not coming together to be greater than the sum of its parts.
And that's the problem. It doesn't come together. That's the problem. And I have the same issue with the next one. The parts are pretty good. It's just not cohesive at all.
But at least in this one, if I can use puzzles as an analogy, you might have a bunch of puzzle pieces that don't fit together, but clearly they're from the same picture.
Yes.
The next one is just 20 puzzle pieces from 20 different puzzles with 20 different pictures.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about this episode then. Right. Well, that is going to bring us to the end of this episode. Yeah, I'm excited because obviously we're about to finish this, and then we're going to talk about the next episode. First thing I'm doing tomorrow is watching part 2, because I want to see where the hell that episode goes. But yeah, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Dwarf Memory for all show updates.
Please subscribe, rate, and review the show wherever you can, and email us your comments to dwarfmemory@gmail.com. We love getting those emails and messages.
Week.
Oh, God, they've just been great. I really appreciate each one.
Yeah. The next episode, as we've alluded to already, we will be discussing will be episode 6 of Series 8, which will be Pete Part 1. So make sure to watch before you join us for the next episode. The appeal, oh yes!
Dear Mr. Malaby, your appeal has been successful. From this day forth, all inmates with no record of violence or depression will be allowed to have guitar strings on their guitars. This appeal was all about guitar strings.
You didn't think this was about getting out of here, did you?
You mean to say I've been busting my balls so you can have strings on your lousy, stinking guitar?
You've been a brick, man, and as a personal thank you, I thought I'd write you a song.